In a move that has sent shockwaves across global capitals, China has declared it is fully prepared to fight any type of war with the United States, igniting fears that the world's two largest economies are now on a dangerous collision course. The chilling warning came after President Donald Trump expanded his tariff campaign to cover all Chinese imports, a move Beijing has branded as economic warfare. Within hours, China retaliated with tariffs of up to 15% on American agricultural products, targeting a critical pillar of Trump's political base. China's message was blunt, defiant, and left no room for ambiguity. Officials in Beijing reportedly stated that if war, trade, economic, or otherwise, was what Washington wanted, then China was prepared to fight until the very end. The rhetoric was so direct, so uncompromising, that it marked a dramatic shift from China's typically measured diplomatic language. In a fiery post on X, China's embassy in Washington amplified the message, quoting from a government statement that left little doubt about Beijing's intent. This is not the first time the world has witnessed tensions between the United States and China, but the stakes now appear more perilous than ever. Historically, relations between the two superpowers have fluctuated between cautious cooperation and outright hostility. During Trump's early days in office, there had been brief hope of a thaw. Xi Jinping attended Trump's inauguration, and both leaders spoke optimistically about working together. But the warmth quickly cooled. Trade wars, military posturing in the South China Sea, and allegations of espionage turned that hopeful beginning into a bitter rivalry. The latest escalation unfolded during China's annual National People's Congress, where Premier Li Keqiang confirmed Beijing would boost defense spending by 7.2%, matching last year's increase. However, it was his grim assessment of global affairs that stood out. He warned that the world was witnessing changes unseen in a century, unfolding at unprecedented speed. This ominous declaration seemed tailored not just for a domestic audience, but as a direct message to Washington. China is arming itself for the era of confrontation. As Chinese leaders projected strength and resilience, the message was also meant to reassure citizens that the economy could withstand any American pressure. This is a crucial narrative for Xi Jinping's administration, already battling a property crisis, collapsing consumer confidence, and stubbornly high unemployment. With the economic outlook darkening, portraying the U.S. as an external enemy, an aggressor trying to suffocate China's rise, serves a double purpose: rallying nationalist sentiment and deflecting attention from domestic woes. In Washington, the response was measured but unmistakably firm. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth acknowledged the rising tensions and reportedly stated that while America was not actively seeking conflict, it was fully prepared for any scenario. He added that deterrence could only be maintained through strength, a clear indication that the Pentagon views China as a peer competitor that must be countered at every turn. But this goes beyond trade. The undercurrent of military confrontation is impossible to ignore. Last October, Xi Jinping had already called on Chinese troops to prepare for war, overseeing large-scale drills around Taiwan, the self-governing island that China views as a renegade province. For decades, Taiwan has been the most combustible flashpoint between Beijing and Washington, with the U.S. legally bound to supply the island with defensive arms. Now, with both countries arming themselves and openly discussing war, even if only metaphorically, could this long-standing cold standoff turn hot? Adding fuel to the fire is the fentanyl crisis, which Washington has blamed partly on China for flooding the U.S. with precursor chemicals. Beijing has fiercely rejected this accusation, calling it a flimsy excuse for economic coercion. Chinese officials reportedly warned that intimidation, bullying, or economic blackmail would not succeed. A message clearly intended for the hawks in Trump's cabinet, who view China not just as a trading partner, but as America's foremost geopolitical adversary. Indeed, from Washington's viewpoint, China's aggressive rhetoric is confirmation of what many in Trump's administration have long believed, that Beijing is not just a trade rival, but a strategic adversary determined to undermine American dominance. The U.S. sees China's economic practices, military expansion, and technological ambitions as direct threats to its global leadership. By imposing tariffs and strengthening its military posture in the Indo-Pacific, America believes it is defending not just its economy, but the very principles of free markets and fair competition. For Beijing, this is not just a trade dispute. It is a fight for survival and dignity. Chinese leaders view Trump's tariffs and accusations over fentanyl as thinly veiled attempts to contain China's rise. To China, this confrontation fits into a historical pattern of Western powers trying to humiliate or weaken it. By projecting strength, both militarily and economically, China hopes to rally domestic support and signal to the world that it will not bow to American pressure, no matter the cost. Around the world, the prospect of escalating U.S.-China tensions is met with deep unease. Global economies are still recovering from pandemic shocks, and the threat of a new Cold War, or worse, a direct confrontation, would send shockwaves through supply chains, financial markets, and diplomatic alliances. Countries caught between the two superpowers, from Europe to Africa to Southeast Asia, are increasingly anxious about being forced to choose sides in a conflict that could reshape the global order for generations to come. At the heart of this escalating drama lies a fundamental question. Is this really about trade, or is it about something far deeper, the battle for global supremacy? Both countries want to dominate the technologies of the future, from artificial intelligence to renewable energy. Both want control over critical supply chains. Both want to set the rules of the 21st century economy, and neither wants to blink first. History tells us that when a rising power threatens to displace an established one, war often follows. Is that the fate awaiting China and America? Or can these two giants pull back from the brink before a trade war becomes something far deadlier? As both nations dig in their heels, the world can only watch and wonder if history is once again repeating itself. Your perspective matters. What do you make of China announcing its readiness to go to war with the USA? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments section below. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to Current Affairs channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our informative future videos. Stay informed, stay engaged, and thank you for watching.